Hi friends, welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast about video games and beer. I'm Ben. It's episode, I think, 233. I haven't got my book ready. What's going on? I haven't written it down. I'm here with Lucy.
I can confirm 233, I think. 3, 4...
I confirm, maybe.
I remember we did a 232. Can't tell you how many weeks ago that was though, so...
Who knows? Someone will, Aadil, you'll
Really,
know, you're here with
too
us as well.
Yes, I am here and not paying attention and not remembering I have to tweet out that we're live, and so was barely paying attention. I haven't checked the numbers, but I believe this is 233.
Not that it really matters. We're going to talk about some games, we're going to drink some beers, as we do each and every week. I'm going to crack a beer open, but I have a question to pose to you both. I've got 3 beers left. I'm only going to drink 2 this evening, but...
Sure?
Yes,
we can drink
yes.
3.
No, they're all big. They're all big beers.
So, you know, when in Rome, and none of us are going to Rome anytime soon.
That's
so.
very true. That's very true.
Rome's
so
where your heart is.
I've got 3 beers. One is, and I'll just give you the adjuncts and everything from the fronts of the cans. One is a triple dry hopped IPA at 7.8%. That's a collaboration beer. One is a single hop Idaho 7 double IPA at 8%, and one is a coffee Tonka double stout at 8.5%.
IPA then stout.
Okay, Lucy?
There was a stout. Did you say Tonka?
Tonka stout, yep.
Well, I just want you to drink that one now, because it's like I want to drink it. I'm going to live vicariously through you.
I think that will have to be second, as it's 8.5 and a Tonka stout. So it's basically between then...
Just ship it up here. Ship it up here. By the time it gets here, we'll be on somebody's last topic.
That's true. All right. Which one then? A double IPA or a triple hopped IPA?
Double. Save the triple for
Okay.
yourself.
Starting then with Saturated in Idaho 7 from Deya.
Get rid of it. No, the other one. Now I'm jealous. Now I'm double jealous. Drink the triple.
It is an 8% double IPA. They've given me no information as usual. Contains the normal allergens that things contain. It's Idaho 7, it's a single hop, but that's all they're giving me. I'm going to open this up.
Fair.
Big old can, big old alcohol
Big
content. It's a big boy. Lucy, what are you drinking this week?
I am drinking, because I've also got a stouty beer.
Okay, nice.
But I'm going to start with an IPA from Verdant, and this is the
lovely.
Neil Gets Things Done. 6.5%, Simcoe, Citra, Mosaic, Nelson Sauvin. Not much else, 440ml can. Very nice art on it. Very pop arty kind of art on the can. But yeah.
Is that a rebrew? That's something they've done before, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, because I was like, this can art looks familiar. So yeah, it probably is, but I haven't had a Verdant beer in too long, basically. Way too long.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Good.
I like this.
Aadil, what are you starting with this week?
I've got a beer that one of my housemates bought for my birthday. It's by Howling Hops, which is in Hackney Wick. It is their House IPA, 6.9% IPA. It's got this gorgeous sort of boat and whale breaching, and I can't remember what the spraying with the out of the blowhole is called. But it's just a really pretty can. I don't think I've ever had anything from them.
Really? Oh, wow.
I don't think so, or at least it didn't ring a bell. Howling Hops. And there's very little information except that it has hops, which presumably howl.
Presumably.
I remember a few of their cans a few months ago were all sort of geometric patterns. That's what I remember from Howling Hops. I think. Maybe it's them. Who knows? You pour that. I'm going to get me nose in and have a sniff of this Idaho 7 beer. It's very, very frothy, you can see. But as I put the glass down, it has got a nice haze to it, but it feels like up to the light I can just see my finger peeking through. Around the edges it's a little bit lighter as well. It comes across quite well as in its colour on the camera as it is from what I can see. Nice fruity nose. Big fruity nose. There's something in there as well. A little sweetness maybe. Oh, that's a big juicy flavour. A little bit of pineapple. I know, a little bit of coconut as well. And it's got this nice creamy finish to it. But it does finish very creamy and quite wet. But there's just something else in there. I don't know whether it's that, you know, Idaho 7 having a bit of a coconutty kind of nature to it. Whether it's just the like the aftertaste of that perhaps, and a little bit of the creaminess kind of putting my mind elsewhere, maybe. Go back in. There's a little bit of a dankness on the nose as well. That dankness does come through at the beginning with those fruitier flavours, with that pineapple, maybe a little bit of mango as well. But yeah, it kind of kicks up into this very creamy sort of sweetness, which gives me a lot of kind of coconut vibes. Not, it's not sort of, you know, like the kind of artificial coconut you get in like Bounty or something like that. It's a bit more muted than that. It's kind of more like desiccated coconut, something like that. You know, or coconut, maybe a little bit more like coconut milk or something. It's just a little
giving a bit of body and smoothness.
Yes, exactly. Little sweetness as well from it, but not a huge punch of that. It's very nice. God, that's easy.
I think I'll have that on order. Yeah, I think that's en route to
Did I say what it was called? Saturated in Idaho 7. Yeah. So they've done a few of these saturated in beers where they're just doing a single hop beer. I can't remember which ones I've had. I think I've had 3 now, including this one. And just from memory, I think this one is my favourite. I think that they do a saturated in Citra.
I know they do a Simcoe one.
They did a Simcoe one, yes, which is one I didn't have. I think
I had that one.
Who knows? Who knows these days? So many beers are consumed. I've got no idea what I drank. I could probably look back through the book, couldn't I, and see if it was something I had on an episode, but probably wasn't. Probably just drank it on a random Wednesday afternoon. Night, I should probably say to any clients listening. Lucy.
Yeah.
We'll come over to you.
Alright. When I poured it, it looked a bit similar to yours, Ben. Nice foamy, frothy head. But yeah, the smell is gorgeous. Like full-on tropical fruits. Like Verdant are known for like their bold flavours, and yeah, just takes me back. A lot of pininess on the nose as well. Oh.
I like that sound.
Yes. I'll just keep swallowing it. Don't want to drink it because I can't really. It's been so long. Will the taste match the smell? Oh my god, yes it does. That's good.
Excellent.
It reminds me of like a Deya beer.
Yeah.
They are pretty similar, like Verdant and Deya in their approaches to the style. Like, it's an IPA, it's, 6.5%, so you are tasting that little bit of alcohol. But yeah, it's got this nice, smooth, full body, nice tropical fruit flavours, like a bit of guava, a bit of passion fruit. Ooh. Oh, it's good. But yeah, they put Citra, Mosaic, Nelson Sauvin, so I think it's... and Simcoe. So I think a lot of it is like the mosaic on the smell, but yeah, all those hops, like 5 hops going into it. I mean 4 hops, sorry. It just, yeah, getting all those fruit flavors and that's a good beer.
Nice.
I like this. I like this a lot. I want to live in their brewery. Just live in like a vat instead of like Oscar the Grouch living in a bin. I just want to live in the vat. Just swirl around.
Just pop up every now and again for air and just go straight back down again.
Oh, that's good.
Nice. Good.
If I could bottle a smell, this would be it.
Would you wear it, or was it just to smell every now and again?
Just a smell every now and then.
Fair.
Just like smell of tropicalness. It's good.
Nice. Perfect. Aadil, we'll come to you then. Howling Hops.
Sure. So, what was it called again? Just the House IPA. Yeah. So it's obviously like completely.
Yeah, a solid
opaque.
colour.
Yeah, but it's like an orange juice, or like maybe orange mango juice, like a slight yellowish in it. You can see that it's also there was quite a bit of head, and it's gone down, but it's also just hugging the glass. Immediately on pour, it was giving a tropical fruit and a bit of floral note. Definitely like mango passion fruit. And it comes out. Ooh, that's nice and creamy. It comes out in the taste as well. So it finishes a bit sweet citrus, almost like I want to say tangerine. No, mandarin, the other small one. Yeah, so it starts kind of mild. You mostly get the texture and the mouthfeel, which again is sort of this creaminess. And it comes off as, yeah, sort of tropical fruit, touch of floralness, but that's mostly left in the nose. And then it's, and then the bitterness from the hops starts to kick in, and you get a little more sort of deep citrus. No, want to say a slight resininess, but only slightly. It's mostly this pure creaminess. Sort of goes from a sweet-seeming start to then drying your mouth out and ending actually tangerine sweet. But again, quite wet, easy to take, wet but bitter. So it's like there's 2 prongs to the finish, which is the actual mouthfeel is not drying out at all, but it's got this low-key, really sort of bland bitterness, just like, it's kind of bitter. And then this slight tangerine finish that sort of sits on top of everything, if that makes sense. Yeah. But you kind of tune in and out between them. It's really refreshing. So I think so far, I think the highlight is definitely that texture, that thickness, which is, I guess, 6.9%. It's much easier to get than I think the last few times I've had an IPA have been much closer to session strength. So. Yeah, like I said, mostly the same sort of taste notes all throughout. A bit of interplay at the end. Solid beer.
Good. Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. We've all hit winners to start off with for the episode, which is always good. We can chat away about all of our games whilst enjoying these. Who would like to start this week? Oh, Aadil, straight in there. Bam!
Because I literally just finished a game.
No, don't believe it.
Amazing.
Sorry. No.
I finished the game in one sitting.
Oh, wow, okay. How long was it? 30 minutes?
Actually, I can check. Hold on. I realize now I can check. Because of Steam, which, of course, is now updating, making everything way more awkward, because I'm like, I'll just click a thing. But I closed it.
You're my friend, I can check what you played. I can cheat.
Yeah, I mean, you can cheat. This is true.
Last online 17 minutes ago. He's telling the truth, folks.
Wow.
He's
literally finished right before we started.
Correct.
Games, 6,000 in library.
I guess it was 3.5 hours, although I did... That's not true.
It's 1,500.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I forgot to turn it off when I made dinner and had dinner, but it's 3 hours total, so I suspect it's mostly more like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I think cooking and eating and going up the stairs and then be like, oh, I didn't turn that off. I was about an hour. So I would say, yeah, around 3. And it is. Oh, but I only have 15 of the 20 achievements. I don't really care. The Solitaire Conspiracy, my birthday game for Ben.
Nice.
Which I just cracked through. Which, yeah, they're not kidding them, Biffle Games, that it is a short.
So when you crack through, you say that you have just played the single player campaign at the moment?
Yeah, I hit the credits and then got my beer.
Yep, cool. Basically,
I was like, oh, I'm apparently level 14. I know it's supposed to go to level 15. I'll just play a couple more rounds. I liked it, but it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell how hard it is because there's no like. So I mean, we talked a little bit about it last week, right? But essentially, you've got like 8 stacks of cards. And a column in the middle with 4 spots for your aces. And you're playing solitaire in the sense that things can go on cards that have a higher value of them. And you're trying to shuffle them around such that you can build from ace to king in the middle on the 4 suits. If you have 4 suits in play, because sometimes you have 2 or 3. It just maxes out at 4. It has like a turn counter. So like,
yes.
You did this in X turns. And obviously, like, there's a couple rounds where I'm like, oh, I really messed that up. I'm going to have to, like, really move stacks around. And I know that caused a lot of extra turns. But other than that, I'm like, okay, so I'm clearing most, like, boards, if you want to call them that, in, like, under 50 moves. And it's been pretty fluid. Like, a couple times I'm like, oh, I kind of have to move this one here. But other than that, it wasn't like I was really staring strategically, being like, I need to unlock this one. It was mostly just like, okay, I want to concentrate on getting that 2. So I'll just do that pile and I move things around. And then I'll go look for that 3. And occasionally I have to track 2 or 3 cards. In that, like, I do. Basically, it's like I don't want to. If the next thing I'm going to need to do for the next sort of several cards to pile in the middle is get this 4, but I'm concentrating on this 3. Then I'm not going to move cards off of that 3 that will stack the 4. But other than that, I'm not like planning that much. And so some of the longer ones, like with 4 suits, were around 100 moves. And some of them, but like between it was like 50, 100, and at no point did I really feel like. Like, I didn't feel like I was optimizing, but I also didn't feel like I was that far off. Just because as you unlock, like the whole thing is each board will have different suits, which once you get the ace online, then when you play the jack, queen, or king, they'll have powers. And actually, some of the later ones just made the game easy.
Yes, yeah.
There's the last two.
There's a couple they throw in which make it a little bit harder. And then suddenly they throw another one, and it's just like, oh no, just stack them in a very lovely way. Like, oh, brilliant. Yeah. Okay.
Well, so like the second to last one, I think, is the one where like these guys are really evil because they'll take the next, like if you play one of their face cards onto a stack, whatever top card it is, they'll move the next one you want to unlock into that stack beneath them.
Right.
And then they'll drop to the bottom. But that's an exceedingly useful thing. That's not a bad thing. You just drill down on one spot, and then you use these guys to pull all your really hard to get things away. I'm like, it was only when I accidentally played like one of like the king and then another card and then the queen on top. No, the queen and then the king, and then I like messed up the ordering, so I kind of locked the card I was trying to get away under one card, but it was a high value. Except for that, it was just immediately obvious that like this. If it's saying get the hard to reach thing away, then I just need to make sure that I get it into a position that's more useful. And that turned out to be really easy on the boards.
Yeah.
And then the last one you unlock is literally, hey, take the biggest stack and order it from lowest to highest, so it's the easiest to just like churn out because nothing's locked below. And I get that why that's like you can't have that too early because it's too easy, but also it's just a really weird thing for difficulty scaling, because then it felt like the last 3 levels were a cakewalk, and they weren't. They had like 4 teams, but one of them was that, so it was a couple, like the last few levels, I think also because I was rushing, were a little more chaotic because I was relying more on, like, there's one like suit that like shuffles everything in a stack, and usually what I would do is play that on a low numbered stack, so I wouldn't get too screwed, but I might float the card I'm looking for on the bottom. And like the last round I played, I just shuffled the big stack 3 times until basically it's like, I'm kind of stuck, I'll just hope, and then I'll blow it up. And like it was that felt much more like I'm not really thinking so much as doing, but the rest of the game was very like, okay, and then I do this, and then I win. And like, I just took the highest, so you get a choice of 3 different missions to go on. I just kept picking the one with the highest XP, and then I was like, cool, I'm done. And but like, I didn't understand why you wouldn't, because it didn't seem like these were exceptionally difficult.
No,
so it's like,
I did realise that on a couple of missions, and I think they're ones that I obviously exceeded whatever like play counter they had associated with it, but I actually got some minus experience on a few of the games.
Oh, really?
And it may be that, you know, if I picked this 500 experience board to play on, and I got minus 150, but actually I could have picked the 400, which only had 3 suits, done that in a much easier time, and got a bonus on it. So I may have got more experience from a lower experienced board just through managing it better, perhaps. But I haven't been back in to test that sort of theory very much.
Yes, for me it was it really felt like so I did notice a couple times I really didn't pay attention that much to bonuses, whatever. I never really saw a detracting one, but I did see like, oh, you did this under 50 or under 45 or whatever, extra 25 XP. But when the difference is 150 between the like my choices, it's like, okay, well, even if I didn't get the 25 XP, like even if I did the easier one quicker, I'm still making fewer XP per match or whatever. So I don't know. It just felt like there wasn't a lot of incentive to really pay attention to that. Like they clearly put effort into this, like, hey, take different paths, try different things. But even like as I unlocked new suits, if you will, new crews, right? It felt very samey anyway. So I kind of was just like, well, I guess I'll just, like I said, just pick the one with the highest XP, which kind of means I rushed the game, but not because I was like, I want to finish it, but just because I didn't see a reason not to.
I think maybe for some other people who may play it, having that variety and knowing the different crews that you're going into each of the boards with, because normally in the variety that you've got one that will have 3 crews, one which will have 4 crews, and then maybe another which is either 3 or 4, but they're different to the other 2. So you can kind of pick your path in that sort of way if you have some that you prefer to play with. You know, I really like the crew that they're sort of narratively the wheel people. So they you know, they're always kind of in the narrative, they're always waiting either in a plane or in a car or doing something to kind of get them into a mission or get them out of there, and their power is to pull out the next card that's needed on the crew that you place them on. And I really liked that because it allowed me to pull out sort of deep 2s or 3s when I didn't have anything kind of else available. So I gravitate a little bit towards some of those, and going into the skirmish mode, which is one of the unlockable modes, which is just, you know, it's just a standard board. You get to pick one of the 8, or you get to pick up to 4 of the 8 crews to take into a board with you, and it's just playing, you know, with no time limit and stuff. And I found then at that point, I'm like, right, I know I like this one, I know I like this one, I know I like this one. I'll play with my favourites and see how that is. And then I went back in and went, okay, well, I'll play with the ones I aren't as good with or don't quite that maybe don't give me as much of a benefit as I think they do. Play was different slightly, but you're doing the same thing. It's solitaire. You're playing the same game every single time. So
yeah, I mean, what I will say is I like the suits. I thought there was enough variety in the games I played that I didn't feel like I was like, okay, I'm doing this again. I also think that maybe I was just like, it wasn't like I was like, I should just crank through this game. I was just like, cool, next. To the point where I realized I was like above level 10 of 15 and I still didn't really know what the suits were. I was just like, what does this one to do? And then it was really frustrating because you could see it glowing, but you couldn't, if it was on the top of the stack, you could just hover over it and be like, I'm going to do this. But if it was in the stack, you're like, it wouldn't. And it wasn't until, like I said, late in my playthrough that I realized that the icons at the top also told you what it was. Because a couple times I'm like, I'm pretty sure it does this. Spend the time to move cards away to use it. I'm like, oh, this one doesn't do that thing. And like, I think also the one that says bring the same value, that took me a few burnt attempts to figure out what was going on. Because I thought, because everything else is like suit related, I thought it meant I'll just stack all of your like triangles together. Not I will pull all the 4s on all of the piles up.
yes,
Because that was the first one that dealt with piles that weren't necessarily this. Like most suits were like, I'll do something to this stack, or I'll blow this stack up and spread it everywhere else, but it's still just these cards.
Yep.
And that one was, hey, you put it on a 4, and then all the 4s on all the stacks come to the top. And that took a while to figure out because I was trying to like game it and I didn't get it. But I mean, that's I think what I mean by it's too easy was in a couple games I was like, I don't know what this is doing, and I played with it and I'm like, still don't know what it's doing. And then I still kind of finished reasonably quickly. And so yeah,
there definitely isn't a difficulty barrier to this game. I think that comes with the I've forgotten what the mode's called, but the timed mode for it, which I played several times now, and it's so tense because you're going. It's a completely different experience going from this very sort of not it's not even a passive mode, but there's no urgency to the sort of the normal play of this, where suddenly when you've got a timer associated with it, even though wave 1 and it builds up in waves, so you basically go in and there's just one crew that you have to deal with and stack from ace up through to the king. Wave 2 will be 2 and wave 3 will be 3. And so okay, I'm leaning in very easily, and it randomizes those crews as well that you go in with, so you don't know what you're going to. So you need to know what they're doing, so you're not fanning around for 10 seconds at the beginning, like, oh no, what does this crew do? Yep, okay, so what does this crew do? Sure, what does this crew do? Well, I've just burnt like 20-30 seconds of my time understanding what they are and scanning through, going, right, I've got an ace here, I've got an ace here, I've got a 2 here, rather than just being like, right, bam, 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 bam. It's definitely a different headspace to be in, to play that timed mode.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to it.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a more tense mode to be able to play. And I think the longevity in the game is that mode. That is absolutely why people will go back to it. There's a leaderboard. It shows you scores of other players.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's definitely got that that score chasing element to it. And I think maybe on the 4 or 5 times I've tried it, I've only got to wave 7, I think, so far.
Okay.
So not very high at all.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely be going back to it sort of periodically and trying sort of 2 or 3 runs. It's got that same appeal that something like Cycle 28 had, where you go in and you do those 2 or 3 or 4 runs, you hit that sort of sweet spot, and you're like, right, I'm fine, I'll move on to another game now. I'll come back to this in a few days' time or next week or something.
I mean, so yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing the rest. I actually am surprised that the cutscenes I watched, but very quickly I stopped reading the blurbs on the missions, which is some solid writing to give some like you know, like you said, each of the suits sort of has their own persona, if you will, or some descriptors, and so all these missions are like, it's these guys, so this guy's doing that, and this team's doing that, and this is what you got to do. But maybe I would have cared more if the voiceover kept going, but mostly it was just like, I thought it would be, so I heard that there was like silly descriptions, and I thought that's my bag, right? But for some reason it just became like, this is just like, let me just play the game.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna hit next, and I don't. Maybe it's just my headspace today, but I was kind of shocked because I like Bithell games for the writing, and like this is normally the thing I'd be like, I'm gonna waste time and like read the thing, even if it doesn't matter. But for whatever reason, it just didn't quite grip me this today. The one day I played it. So yeah, I mean, it was surprising, but also I mean, there was enough plot in the cutscenes. I thought for sure it was going to give you a choice at the end, and then it just didn't.
So did I. I
was like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to do. Am I going to do X or Y? And they're like, nah, I just said. Which is good, actually, but it was surprising in the cutscene because it felt so much like the game doing the game thing, which is like, which I'll, not no spoilers, but like I was just shocked.
Did Lucy? Do you remember? Did Subsurface Circular give you a choice at the end? I feel like it did.
I think it did.
Yeah.
The whole game seemed like choices.
Yes.
And I know the Quarantine Circular definitely gave you a choice at the end.
Maybe that's why. Maybe we've just been dragged into a false sense of security with Biffle games. We're like, there'll be a choice. No, gone. Agency
I mean, I
removed.
also like it a lot. Like, it's nice and short. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And like you said, like there's clearly some longevity there. And like, I mean, even though I played it, in one session, and so didn't really learn quite what all the things suits did. I mean, I knew most of them by the end. And I could see how when you're doing time trials, etc., you'd be like, oh, it's these suits. Cool. I need to remember, and like much more pre-planning. I guess I was just mostly, I liked it. I liked the skeleton, but I was disappointed how easy for a short game it is, because you could easily someone could easily spend the 10 quid or whatever it was. How much was it?
I think it's 10. I think it's 10. I think it's £10 now, but it was like $7.99 in its launch period. Yeah.
But like spending 10 quid and then bashing through and then being like, okay, I'm done, and then not trying those modes where the higher difficulty is, and not getting the full, because the plot's over. I hit credits, right? Like if I'm not really paying attention, like you get a blurb at the end that says, "Hey, you can keep going," and then after the credits, it even shows you level 15, and here's 3 levels you could just play for fun. But like that's a bar that most people probably won't just like go further unless they've heard. Yeah, and like from what I understand, some of the other modes unlock at early levels, and I didn't know that. Maybe just because I was clicking through to keep playing the next game, but it wasn't clear that I could pause the plot and go try something else at level 8.
Well, I experienced it in a very different way. So I played 2 or 3 games in sort of a sitting instead, and maybe only went up 2 or 3 levels per sort of game session. So every time I was going into it, I was going back to that main menu before switching into the thing. So I did see the modes unlock, but I still chipped away at that campaign, really. Yeah. Rather than trying out those modes first.
There's a campaign plus coming this Thursday. So
nice.
Yesterday for listeners, there'll be an update. So new game plus, I imagine. Which might answer some of your difficulty questions.
Perfect.
Deal. And there's a new Reigns coming out, set in space.
What?
Huh.
Oh.
Wow, okay. Well, that changes some things.
Space Reigns, sure. Why not?
Yeah, Space
I need a new phone game.
It's like Apple Arcade, though.
Okay, so it says in the new mode there's this fixed deal per mission. No shuffle restarts. I didn't know you could do that, so that's fine. And a par turn count set by the team. You have to meet or beat par. Okay, so that's kind of what I thought the game was going to be.
Yeah.
When I saw the move counter, it was like cool. So because like it's easier than regular solitaire. When I play regular solitaire, I often lose, right? Because there's some deals that are impossible. But like a lot of this is okay, patiently spend 20 moves restacking things because you fucked something up or whatever, and you could get there. That's kind of why I felt weird about it, because it was like I thought there'd be a lot more restart. Right, I thought it, because that's I mean, I've played a bit of different solitaire games, and sometimes it's completely impossible to win, but sometimes you're just like, oh, because I did this, I've now locked that card away in a bad way, or I've done something where now, because of the interaction of what I need here and here, and I didn't choose to free this one up, I've now just locked two cards which depend on each other away. I need to restart. Like, that's sort of how I think of solitaire. And this game I never hit a single moment that felt like it was impossible. It just felt like it would take me a few extra turns if I like used the wrong power card.
And I think it also takes away the idea of chance, doesn't it? That all the cards are visible straight off the bat. That you don't have anything hidden at all. You know, not if in each of the stacks the bottom two cards were hidden or something, it would be a very different game. So.
Anyway, but yeah, so
I don't want to go off topic, so carry on, Aadil.
Oh, I mean, I was going to try and wrap it up because I recognize that we've just been
go, Lucy,
saying a
go.
lot.
I just don't want to alarm you, but there's a really cool looking shark in this new Reigns game.
A shark?
I posted the picture. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Can you be the shark?
No, he's one of the cards, but he's got an amazing face.
On the new Reigns game, did you say?
Yeah, I posted a picture in the call. So.
Oh, see, I can't because I would have to take the call off of full screen for the OBS.
I've looked at my phone.
Oh yeah, phone. Good call.
That's a very good shark.
Yes.
Horrifying.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all.
I enjoy that he's called Lord Shark.
And he's a lone shark.
Oh, good.
Yeah, sorry. That was extremely important.
I mean, that's fair. Oh, he's very good. This is a very good
the kind of tangents we live for, aren't we?
Yes.
Isn't he a very good shark, viewers?
He's an excellent.
He could be mistaken for an iron.
Yes. This is true.
I want an iron with that painted on the bottom.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I mean,
that's
painted
that's my new startup business.
Painting irons.
Painted with acrylic paint, Deal.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
So just to wrap things up, I'm looking forward to doing the more intense modes, and the fact that there's a new game plus type extended plot is great, because I clearly liked it, right? Because I just was like, a few hours ago, I was like, I'll just see what it's like. I should probably like have a game to talk about, but also I was excited about it, and I just kind of lost track of the week since you gave it to me, Ben. And then it was like, oh, this is fun. Wow, this is fun. But then it was like, oh, this is just happening and finishing. So yeah, I might report back next week to see what my thoughts are on the
update,
skirmishing and time mode, etc., and also perhaps the new plot that Lucy has made us aware of. But that was my time.
Good
thus far.
Nice. Maybe I'll just jump in then with what I've been playing, because I'm not going to talk about it a huge amount. It's something I might return to at some point, but I haven't got a huge amount to say about it, really. I thought I'd have more, but I've been playing Star Wars Squadrons.
Ah, yes.
And I've played a lot of the single-player campaign, and I've delved into the multiplayer aspect of it. And this is the Star Wars game where you're in the cockpit of a starfighter, either for the New Republic or the Empire, because this comes after Return of the Jedi. So it's after the Battle of
between
Endor.
trilogies.
Yes. And it's got its own sort of dedicated story, which I liked. You know, I'm a sucker for Star Wars. So there was always a good chance that I was going to enjoy a new story set within that universe. And I like that it doesn't try and tie in with too much. You know, you're not having token character one turn up. That kind of... It does come in a little bit. You know, it starts off with Vader, because it's set before Endor, and then it kicks back in after, and so the prequel is before type of thing. Anyway, so it very much tells its own story. It does so, you know, quite well, and it tells both sides of a conflict. So you play as both the Empire and the New Republic through this single player campaign. That obviously flows into the multiplayer as well, and it is only those two sort of factions within this game. You know, something like Battlefront 2, where it kept adding things, it kept adding new characters and all of this sort of stuff. Squadrons is very much New Republic versus Empire, set in this time period and not really doing much else. You know, there's 4 ships that you can fly for each side. Each of them do they've got a little difference to them. So an X-Wing is, you know, bog standard, as is the TIE Fighter. You've then got the Y-Wing and the TIE Bomber, which are a little more sort of artillery-based heavy hitters. You've then got an A-Wing and a TIE Interceptor, which are a little bit quicker.
A little fast, zippy ones.
Yeah, and then you've got support classes, which I think was a U-Wing for the New Republic, and I don't remember what the ship is called for the Empire, but that's the one I like the least.
TIE thingy.
I don't really want to play as support and throw shields on things and that sort of bollocks. I want to shoot shit.
Yeah.
And it's and the shooting shit is good. It's competent. I enjoy it. It's pretty solid in what it's trying to do, and there's a lot of different systems that you can kind of get into to master the game and be a little bit better than everyone else. You know, there's the idea that you can change between the power of your ship going to either your engines or your weapons or your shields if your ship has them. You can change whether you want your shields to sit on the front or on the back. For like the TIE Fighter, which doesn't have any shields, you can put more energy into your engines or into your blasters. And in multiplayer, I think that plays in a lot more than it does in the single player thing. Like in the single player campaign, I wasn't really changing much between any of these. You know, I was staying very balanced, just general shields around me, and just kind of playing that experience. I died a few times, but not anything kind of detrimental that I was banging my head against an element. I had to either drop the difficulty or look at some way of kind of doing it differently. The multiplayer is a different experience in that you do have to be a little bit more switched on to what is happening. It's like, oh, here's a TIE Fighter, I can just follow, track in front of it, the TIE Fighter's here,
right.
I'll aim here, and I'll shoot there, and the TIE Fighter flies into my fire, into my lasers. With multiplayer, it's a lot more frantic. People are all over the place, you know, people are doing kind of crazy flying, and I think the control scheme allows for that. So it allows very much with the analog sticks, lots of turns, lots of speed, acceleration, boosts, and these sorts of things to keep everything quite frantic and fun, really. Like, I wasn't very good at the multiplayer. People have obviously been playing it for the last couple of weeks since its launch, and they're pretty good. The one thing I will say is that multiplayer took me a long time to get into a match. I don't know whether it's low player counts or it just didn't like me, but I think I'm level 4 at the moment in the multiplayer, and the cool mode, which is like a fleet battle where you've got objectives, so you have to destroy the 2 Imperial Raiders that are kind of on the way to the Death Star. Until you've done those, you can't then assault the Death Star type of thing. So there's different stages in this mode. That doesn't unlock with other players until level 5. It is unlocked against the AI. So I've given the game mode a go, and I really enjoy it, but I want to play with other people. So I'm playing either a dogfight, that's just 5 on 5, team deathmatch, or playing against AI, which isn't as fun. You just spend 15 minutes kind of playing a game mode. I'd much rather enjoy the frantic and chaotic nature of having other people playing with. So it's just been sort of like dogfights for me, really. Being like, right,
people are basically picking the lowest hanging fruit.
Yeah, and I don't know whether I think that might be one of the reasons why it took me more of a more time to find a match, at least for the dogfighting modes, because people are playing this other cool mode. Why would you want to do the dogfighting thing when you've got this cool objective-based fleet battle to be able to kind of get into?
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me of the space battles in Battlefront, OG Battlefront 2, right?
Yeah.
Which is one of the things I've been low-key paying attention to it for, because it seems like it could be the distillation of that.
Maybe it's definitely got some of that DNA to it. You'll definitely get something from it if you're looking for that, but I don't think it's as flashed out as that, really. There was a few kind of dogfighting modes to the newer Battlefront games as well, and I kind of always gravitated towards those. Those were the things in those in the two new Battlefront games that I really enjoyed. This is a very much different experience from those. They were third-person ship-based. This gets much more into a systems level thing with being able to change your shields or the power and where it goes in your ship and stuff like that. But for me, it's more Star Wars. I love Star Wars.
Yep.
I wanted something new. This does hit that, absolutely. It feels like Star Wars. It does some very nice graphics in there, in between the missions, the way it kind of cuts and takes then a still image of kind of what was happening and fades out. And I was like, oh, that looks really good. And it would be nice if this is going to be supported for a little while. I don't know whether there's more.
They said it isn't going to be.
Really? Mm-hmm. What did they say?
I just shut off.
Did they really?
Done.
Yeah.
Or is this done? I'll tell you.
I wouldn't say this just to be mean to it.
I mean, wouldn't you though?
Yes, I absolutely would, but
yeah.
No, they said. Hold on.
Oh dear. Well, that's not good.
Vamp.
Like I could see them bringing in, maybe like they did with Battlefront. Like Battlefront got loads of support.
Yeah, they said no with this one.
I mean,
I think it's because it's like a cheaper release.
It is. It's a lower tier kind of game. It's a smaller experience. It doesn't have the versatility that something like Battlefront does with all the different multiplayer game modes that game had. Iden Verso, who is the character from Battlefront 2, is actually name-checked in this game as well. And it was a nice touch, I thought, at least. Not bringing characters in, but at least kind of saying, hey, this is a notable person who we know about, was a nice touch. But it would be nice to have like another game mode.
This is from Game Informer. I think I read it on like League On or something like that. Quote was, "We don't want to say it's almost done and then dribble out more of it over time," which, to be honest, is how most games work these days.
Like
so we've tried to
Battlefront 2.
Yeah. So we've tried to treat it in a kind of old school approach, saying, "You've paid the $40. This is the game, and it's entirely self-contained. We're not planning to add more content.
Wow.
This is the game, as we hope you understand the value proposition."
Oh, okay. I mean, as a value proposition, fine. Yeah, I've got what I've paid for. Absolutely. But I'd still like some more. Adapting the kind of like the fleet battle to something slightly different, and even like a land-based like base assault or something like that, where you've got to take out some like turrets or take out like shield generators and things like that. Okay, that's leaning a little bit more into that like Rogue Squadron sort of headspace, but something else, just something would be good.
It's a bit rubbish because A, you expect that with a multiplayer game, and B, it's kind of an indictment on where the whole industry is going. It's like, yeah, $40 doesn't mean you're going to get anything else other than the base at this point.
Also, I
think not every game needs to be a service.
I also agree, but I think it's actually good that a game from EA charged $40 instead of $60 for something that is not going to get supported and is got a truncated campaign, because they, EA, they would have happily charged $60 for that.
Yeah.
And hear the complaints, but yeah.
I mean, I think mostly it's like I think all games have to be games as a service and have extra things afterwards? No, and that's like, we could get sidetracked into how that just elongates crunch. It's just really weird for a game like this, where it's like the reason why we have this games as a service thing is this type of game. It's like, it's a small campaign, but really it's about the multiplayer type game. This is what those were so popular that everyone's chasing the microtransaction and like new material bandwagon because of this type of game. And it's just very strange to me that this is the game where EA is like, yeah, but not now. It's just odd. My opinion is it's odd, because like new maps, etc., are like the easiest thing to do, right? Like you think Team Fortress 2, etc., without the hats, right? Without the cosmetics and stuff, it's like, okay, yeah,
there are hats in Squadrons.
No. But like, yeah, I guess I'm just surprised that they would bother making this type of game, but then be like, no, but we're not doing this thing that everyone assumes.
Does it say more about EA's stance on Star Wars, perhaps? And owning the rights to making those games, is it something they're like, no, we just need to churn out another game. You've started this game already. We know stuff isn't going perfectly. Battlefront wasn't a hit. Yes, we've now done this other single player game. Let's just get this extra. We've hit our kind of big multiplayer battle experience. We've hit our single player Jedi game. Let's get out like a TIE Fighter, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter style game, and then we're kind of done. The license might not come back to us. We've hit our time limit.
But I wouldn't be surprised if that's why, because I know I haven't looked at this in a while, but I know soonish is when they're running out of that contract has to be renewed. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fine if the game is good, also people still play older games that have not had new maps for ages. It's and like, I think what Lucy said is really important, is like, hey, they didn't charge full price. And they're not selling you the full price package, and those two things together are fine. They're just odd, like I said, because of the type of game they've decided to make this choice. Like if they did that with like a shorter campaign with the Fallen Order game, that would make sense to me. Like, oh, we're just doing a shorter thing, and then they might have done a sequel for another 40 or whatever. Like that would be like the EA playbook that I was expecting. Instead, it was the opposite. But I mean, I'm still like eyeing it. But if it seems like you're gonna run out of your time with it in the next couple of weeks, then I'll probably never touch it.
Yeah. I think it's maybe one that
EA Access. That sounds like an EA Access game, but I imagine by then all the servers will be dead.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
to be fair, they get revived once something becomes more available. So imagine like.
Yes.
2 days after the EA Access launch. EA Play.
EA Play, yes.
E-Play.
E-Play.
They did it recently with Disintegration, which only came out a couple of months ago, in August or July at some time. That was that first-person shooter, but you're on like a hover bike as a first-person shooter, and then you've got a squad with you as well, and you can do some tactics stuff to send them in against people. Yeah, exactly. You're shaking your head.
Who made this?
We've spoken about it before. It's published by Private Division. Who made it? I can't remember. but super short kind of
Oh,
like
is this
hype
the one
window
from
on
like
it.
the ex-Halo people?
Yes.
Is this from
No,
the
the
ex-Halo
ex-Destiny people, which are ex-Halo people, right?
Same thing.
Yeah. Yes.
You say
Yes.
potato.
Um,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I never played it or even seen any gameplay.
no. So there was a
I know
single
that-
player again.
Is
Like,
it, I thought it wasn't out yet.
Close.
yeah, no, it was out. A similar thing, I think, with Squadrons. There's a single player campaign, and then there's a few multiplayer modes as well. And they turned the servers off because the multiplayer mode just wasn't played, and they felt that they hadn't supported it well enough, hadn't developed it well enough to keep it going, or even to do, you know, something drastic and change some things up pretty quickly to try and keep it going. I don't know whether it's and I can't imagine that it is a casualty of kind of people's admonition about games as a service, like something like Anthem or Avengers and things kind of is seeming like it is being, but yeah, I just don't think it was solid enough to stand the test of time, really. So we'll see if Squadrons goes the same sort of way.
Because that Amazon game got shut down as well, didn't it? Or is getting shut down.
Which one?
I don't know what the name of that is. The Amazon one. The one... Everything's a multiplayer game now, so I just refer to it as the Amazon one. The one that was made by the ex-Halo devs. The one with the girl with stretchy arms. Or the...
That's that Avengers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the one by... The Crystal Dynamics one.
Yeah.
The other EA one. You know, that
Yeah.
we've got to the point where it's like everything is the same and homogenized.
I mean, we live in a
there's
postmodern
only going
society,
to be
mate.
yeah.
Everything's already been done. There's nothing new
I
to
mean,
discover.
It's just like it's going to be hard for them to stand out. So I see a lot more of this happening.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder whether Star Wars has that credence to it to keep people with it, but the game's got to be strong enough to then keep people with it.
But it doesn't sound like that was their plan. That wasn't their business model, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, they'll probably be like, "We hope nobody's playing, just so we can switch off the servers and save some money." Yeah.
This is costing us $1,000 a month. Turn them off.
Turn it off. Or just get that other whale to buy some more FIFA points and then
that's true. Yeah, just churn it from
Just
the
one
foot teams
whale.
or whatever it is. I've got no idea how much it costs to run servers, so don't quote me on £1,000. Let's open some more beers. I'm ready.
Okay.
So, cool. As discussed, I'm going to open up this stout. This is Armus Stout, a coffee tonka double stout from Weirdbeard. Can you see the excellent melty purple face on the can? What do they say about this beer? Not very much. The same as the last beer. Not very much. Beer. Brewed and packaged at Weirdbeard. Yep, sure. London. Contains water, malted barley, oats, wheat, hops, coffee, honey, molasses, tonka, and yeast. So a little bit of the extra ingredients that have gone into that. Doesn't tell me what the hops are, what the malts are, but it is 8.5%. Excellent can. I picked it up because it looked brilliant. So I'm going to open this one up. What did I say? 440ml as well. Unlike the Deya, which is like the biggest beer most people will experience at 500 these days, apart from if you go for an Arbor.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was looking at their website. I was like, maybe I should just order some Arbor because it's like works out really cheap. Like even having to pay for postage.
Even with postage, yeah, definitely. Arbor is like the best value.
I could buy 2 Deya beers, or I could just get like 17 Arbors. Like, I think I'll go for the Arbor, thank you.
Nice. Well, what are you drinking? What are you drinking now, Lucy?
I'm drinking currently. I'm going down the kind of stouty road. However, this is an Ethiopian Cold Brew IPA.
Oh, okay.
From Overtone. Another Overtone. They're back. 6%, 440ml can. Here we go, here's some flavour text.
Ooh.
Our second coffee IPA uses bean sourced and roasted by our friends at Deya Green, Ethiopian washed beans. Cold brewed, giving notes of peach, honey, and clementine. Interesting. The coffee is brought together with a soft, smooth pale ale, hopped generously with Citra, Cashmere, Calypso, and Simcoe,
Nice.
creating a delicious partnership. So yeah, that's a lot of hops in there. Malts are extra pale, Maris Otter. Extrin yeast / adjuncts are California Ale, Ethiopian Cold Brew Coffee. Yeah, that's it.
Lovely. Right, I'm just going to grab a
I'm
glass.
very interested to drink this.
The benefit of Ben being in the kitchen, or just off the kitchen.
Yes. The benefit, you say? What is
The benefit of Ben being in the kitchen. That's what you missed.
Yes, I can just whip to the cupboard and grab another glass.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Aadil,
Yes.
your second beer.
I'm having the Massive India Pale Ale from Great
tiny.
South Bay Brewery.
It's 330ml, that's not massive.
Agreed. Yeah, it's American though, so they don't know any better.
Yeah.
It's a 7% IPA. It's oh no, I'm wrong. Yeah, sorry, Bayshore, New York. Yeah. This award winner is one of the first beers we ever produced and is a favorite of ours here at GSB. Hops are added at every stage of the brew to give this beer its floral aroma and citrusy hop flavor. With just around right amount of bitterness and a crisp malt finish, you'll soon become one of your favorite IPAs. Put that claim.
Will it?
Test. Yeah, will it? So I had to pick between which IPA to have first from breweries I'm not familiar with, the 6.9% or the 7%. And I went with the bigger one,
That's fair.
like by volume.
Sometimes we make these choices. We don't know why, but they're the right
Yeah.
ones.
They're always the right ones. We never screw up. We plan everything.
Never.
Absolutely.
So,
This Armus, I assume it's Armus, stout, just flowed as soon as I cracked the can. Nice big coffee sort of nose, but again a nice sweetness to it. I know it said it also had, was it honey and does it have honey?
Kids.
And molasses, Rick Molasses from Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
Well,
Hey, that. Ugh.
did you see you got like punched in the face?
Yes, I did see that.
Punch.
Yeah, just like in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an ass.
People are
Who-
fucking
Who does
weird,
that?
man.
Yeah.
People are fucking dickheads.
So random.
I know. Thank God he's alright.
Yeah.
Ooh. Fucking hell. All right. There's a lot going on in this. There's so much going on.
I really like the color.
It poured. It poured very, very thin. It's got a little brown head to it. That's dissipated really, really quickly.
Barely, yeah.
Doesn't lace much at all. Runs down the glass. Feels thin, but actually in the mouthfeel, it's got this slightly oily quality to it. So it's a little viscous. It sticks and coats the tongue a little bit. The nose, as I said, has a nice, very light coffee on there, but a slight sweetness as well. But when you drink it, that coffee comes through. There's this depth to it, which feels very, very chocolatey. And it kind of flows really well then into what I assume is coming from the molasses more than anything, but this really deep licorice in there, with a sweetness that kind of runs the entire way through. I'm not sure what the Tonka is doing. It might be a bit more of the Don't know. No, don't know. It's very deep. It's very roasted, kind of from the off, but that sweetness runs all the way through. But yeah, it just bleeds into this nice sort of licorice finish, and that lasts. That is the lasting flavour that you get from this. Even now, it sticks around. That kind of that oily, very slight viscosity to the taste pushes everything to the back of your mouth quite quickly. Whilst it coats the tongue, it kind of delivers that little bit of sweetness, I think, there, and then everything else hits the back of your mouth and just sits, just stays there at the back, which I think is maybe why it feels quite deep, because I'm getting flavour everywhere. So it feels like it's delivering a lot, and all through this. And even when it pours, it looks like it pours viscous and thick, but once it's in the glass and that carbonation kind of bubbles up, it looks like it could just be a Coke more than anything. Like
I was going to say, it poured like a cola.
It definitely does. But you don't get that at all from the flavour of this, or the mouthfeel of it. The carbonation, that bubbly start when poured into the glass just isn't present at all when you're drinking it. Maybe a little bit. Now I'm looking for it. Maybe right at the start, just a little bit of carbonation. But yeah, all. Don't get the alcohol either. Hidden very well. I think that's what the molasses is doing. Here's a slightly licoricey, sort of deep, earthy sort of flavour. There's no booze. Don't worry about that. It's fine. It's not there at all. So yeah, this is very good. This is going to be very hard to pick for me this week between these two. So we're going to come to you, Lucy, about the Overtone.
Yeah. Second. Let me actually sniff at it.
It's very clear.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of cloudiness to it.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, a little bit of cloudiness, but yeah, it's definitely more transparent than you'd think. But yeah, it's like really light straw coloured. Didn't pour a massive head. It's quite small. Has dissipated, but yeah, it was probably less than one finger actually when I poured it. Aroma wise, you're getting a mix between like citrus fruit and that's probably a bit stronger than like the coffee aroma that you're getting, but you're definitely getting a bit of both.
Yeah.
Which you'd expect, given all that's gone into it. But yeah, it's got a really pleasing smell. Those two, aromas go together oddly, which is nice.
Do they both come through in the flavour though?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, at first you're very much getting that citrus, those light fruits, and yeah, then like quite quickly actually, like middle and end taste, you're definitely getting the Ethiopian coffee in it as well. But it's not too strong. It's not strong at all. It's quite understated. It's quite subtle. You would notice it if you were just blind tasting it, but it would take you a while to realise what it is. But yeah, it's definitely getting a bit of like roasty earthiness, like at the very end. It's real easy. It's got a bit of hoppiness at the start, but after that it's just like, it's almost like drinking water. It's so light. It's so light yet, and like so light bodied yet all those flavours just, it's like bang, bang, bang. You can pick them all up individually. That's really good. That's really impressed me. Like, Overtone are just knocking it out of the park recently for me, really. But
nice.
Yeah, it's nothing is overpowering. Like with the Verdant, it was very soupy, like the I'm saying this in a good way, but it's very soupy, very dank, very heavy, very full bodied, and you get in those massive bold fruit flavors. Whereas with this, I mean, just looking at it, it's very thin, it's very light, but you're still getting those quite big flavors coming through. Like, you wouldn't think, you know, something like, as I speak more, you're definitely getting like a bit of the alcohol and a bit of the coffee at the end. That's just becoming more apparent as the more I drink. But yeah, you're still getting those delicate citrus flavors. Like, whereas with the Verdant, it was like, yes, very strong, punchy, tropical flavors. This is a bit more understated, like, you know, softer fruits, like a bit of peach, bit of melon. Nothing that's like in your face, but you're still picking up on those things. It's really good.
Nice.
It is probably one of the better cold brews that I've had. Like, I think of like Siren, and I really like some of those cold brews that they've had. Like I think it's the Affogato Stout and stuff like that. But yeah, this one's really impressed me. I think this is probably one of the best ones I've had. So.
Nice. Good.
It's pretty good.
Perfect. Sup away, Lucy, and we'll come over to you, Aadil.
So, this one's a little more. Maybe you can't see it because of the lighting. It's less opaque. Similar coloring though, and slightly less creamy head. You can see that the legs are quicker, and just generally, the pour was lighter. It's also got some tropical fruit, but I would say more passion than mango. Whoop. And a slight, what is that? There's a sweetness. It's not floral. It's like honeyness on top of it. Like just an extra bit of sweetness. So there's 0.1% ABV more. Stronger than the last one. It's much thinner, which I kind of guessed by just the way the head interacted. It tastes and feels thinner as a liquid. Because of that, it's easier to take bigger sips.
Yes.
It's a little. So there's less fruitiness going on. When the initial taste, which is slightly sweet, goes away, and the finish kicks in, you're getting a lot more malty and bitter. So the House IPA that I had before, it was kind of weird because the bitterness was sort of like not nearly that strong, and it kind of like came with the very equal amount of sweet. And this is not sweet, but it's like, oh, here's some sort of oaty almost notes, and then yeah, so it's much more malty, and then bittering from the hops. Sort of, I wouldn't be surprised if there was Citra in here. Maybe Mosaic. But what I'm finding interesting is the bittering is also quite light. It's just, however, pairs really well with that maltiness that kicks through. While the previous beer, like I was saying, was kind of like two prongs that were separate. Yeah, it's overall, I might be mistaken, but I think there's fewer moves on the taste profile, but they are quite well melded thus far. Yeah, I think those are all the notes. There's a slight sweetness somewhere, but very slight, not doing a lot, and kind of gets lost between the initial slightly fruity push and then that malty and bitter finish. It's just like, oh yeah, it's kind of sweet, but kind of disposably so. Yeah, I'm gonna sip this probably slower than the last one, even though it's thinner, just because there's less. Like, smaller sips are giving me the same taste interactions than bigger ones are. So I can sort of like nurse it and try and tease out some of those tasting notes that I'm being a little vaguer than I normally would like to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, having said that, I might just drain it in 3 draughts because that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I'm missing something, but I can't quite figure it out.
That's fair.
I will
it
say,
may come to you.
It's not that big.
That's what she said.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the Massive IPA by GSB.
Was it Great South Bay? I think
Bay.
Yes.
Yeah. Gunshot.
Did it have a shark on the front of it?
That's like a
I believe
trout.
it's a. Yeah, it is. It is a fish that is actively being caught.
A bass.
My phone is off. My camera's off autofocus, so it won't fix. But you can kind of see the blurry. There's a thing in its mouth, and then that's the boat. Like there's a fishing line that goes all the way around back to the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fish.
It's fish.
It's one of them.
Shark
One of
fish.
them fishes.
Fish shark.
Yeah.
Really.
Fair.
Yeah.
So there are beers. Let's get back to games. Lucy, we'll come to you. You were playing a game just before we were recording as well.
I was.
Are you talking
and
about
it's
that one this week?
delightful. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start off with that. Yeah. It's delightful. Yeah, and it only cost me. What was it like? I think it's like £1.79. So
Ooh.
it's an absolute steal, and it's called Cats Organised Neatly. I just saw like a rock paper shotgun article on this when all those Steam demos were going on. I believe they've probably finished about now.
Yeah, it's today, isn't it? The 13th.
Yeah. So who knows if the demo is still up? But it's very easy to just watch a video or just even look at a screenshot or a GIF of it. It is basically a puzzle game where you are fitting all these different shaped cats into it's usually a square grid. Sometimes they play with the shape of the grid, but it's fitting those different shaped cats into the grid so they all fit in, and rotating the pieces. It's basically a puzzle, a literal puzzle. It's delightful.
But it's cats.
It's cats.
And the puzzle pieces are different cats.
They're different cats, and they all meow when you click on them. You can turn that off, but you'd have to be
Why would you?
Satan. Yes,
Yeah.
you'd have to be the devil to actually even consider that.
I say, do they purr at all if you pick them up too many times?
They meow. Yeah, and they purr and they meow, and
What's it called again? Sorry.
Cats Organised Neatly.
Right.
Yeah.
I just
Where are you
want to look
playing
at
this?
screenshots.
Steam, I assume, for it to have appeared in Discord, right?
Sorry, what was that?
Where were you playing it?
Steam.
Mm.
Yeah, I think there's 8 chapters in total. I think there's 80 levels in total, so like 10 levels each. I've got through about 50. Level 48 was an absolute bastard, but needed help with that one. But yeah, it's just delightful. I'll read, because we usually read like Steam reviews, but
yeah, review roundup. But usually we read the bad ones because they're funny because people are dumb.
I have some.
There's 0 negative reviews on this game.
Well, who would do such a thing?
Perfect.
But I just wanted to read because I was looking for a guide. I've actually been like taking screenshots of completed levels. If
Nice.
anyone
Oh, really?
can help. But the only guide is how to relax ? And the answer to the question is just play the game. Thank you for reading. I hope you enjoy the game.
Oh, that is a very well crafted guide.
Yeah. I responded. I said best advice I've had for a while. So,
So I mean, it's essentially like puzzle Tetris, right?
yes.
because it's a grid.
Tetris.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're trying to get all the cats in the space provided? Is that the idea?
Yeah. So you have a certain number of cats and they all have to fit in the grid. All different shapes. And yeah, it's just about, as you say, Tetris in your way into fitting them all in the right place.
When I had to take an intelligence test, oof, wow, Aadil, drink more. An intelligence test, which I regularly understand. Intelligence test for getting into the school I got into for elementary. That definitely had to do basically this, where there was essentially it was like Tetris style pieces, but you had to figure out how to put them into a specific grid, and it wasn't just a square, obviously, for spatial reasoning. So, I mean, I get it. I've seen this type of thing, but also very happy that it's cats.
Yeah, and the art's great. They've all got just slightly goofy looking faces. They all have names, color. They named the cats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are they ridiculous names like Duke Barrington?
Yes.
Oh my god,
they're absolutely like those.
This game is so cheap I can get it for free thanks to all the random
brilliant
community shit that I've been slowly selling.
There you go.
Buy that game?
It's a very good game. I recommend it. Like, if you just want a nice little puzzle game, music's nice and calming. Played it as I was sipping a cup of tea this afternoon. So
nice.
Yeah, it was very good. Speaking of cup of tea games, I played the latest Annapurna joint, which is called I Am Dead.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
I know. Which is from one of the guys who made Wilmot's Warehouse, which is, I loved that last year. It was one of my top games last year, and Hollow Ponds. I'm not sure what else they've made, but maybe that's the name of his dev studio. I don't know. It's from Annapurna, so it's got that seal of quality. It's basically a kind of like Where's Wally Hidden Objects narrative game. You are dead. You play as someone called Morris Lupton, I believe. He is dead. And he lives on this isle called Shelmerston. It's got... I believe the devs are British, but he's got a lot of British sensibilities. It's a fictional, island town, but it's based in yes, this is definitely somewhere that's off the coast of Britain, but has fish people population. Which sounds like a cool place, but if only Britain was like that, where fish people on some island.
Fish people, dolphin people, some people. Kind of underwater peoples.
Yeah. There's a pelican or toucan person. It's got that kind of weird, not supernatural, but just weirdness to it. I mean, these are the people who made Ho-Ho-Come as well, so. And that was an acid trip, so it's got some weirdness to it, but it's got that very soft, cartoonish art style. It's very vibrant. It's very colourful. The menus are all black and with coloured writing on it, and it's sort of like that Wilmot Warehouse kind of aesthetic to it, but. Yeah, you're basically going through the world. The island of Chelmsford, it's got a volcano. It's about to erupt, and you and your dead dog Sparky are trying to find a custodian who's going to take over the island, stop the volcano from erupting. And to do that, you have to find someone who's been dead for at least it was so many days, but I think it worked out to 4 years or something like that. So you're going around, and it's oh, who could do it? Oh, this former resident of the island, this guy who used to run the campsite, this this daughter of the Lord who used to live there and stuff like that. So you're going through these different parts of the island. The game's split up into like 5 levels, and you're going around. You're finding in this like kind of ethereal ghost-like manner. You can transport around the island, and you can go into people's memories, and it's sort of, this is sort of where like the kind of visual novel kind of narrative part leads in, where you're going through people's memories, and they're recounting anecdotes, these stories of either fond or not so fond memories of these people, and it's got this. I mean, the voice acting is fantastic, and it's got all these different dialects of like Britain. Where if you told a Yank all these accents are from Britain, they'd be like, "No, you're wrong. This is an Australian accent." It's like, no, it's just 10 miles from Liverpool or something. And they'd think
don't get me started on how accents can change in this country by 10 miles.
Yeah. But it's got such a diverse cast in that sense, and it's got these really sometimes heartfelt, sometimes funny, sometimes light-hearted anecdotes, and then whilst you're doing that, you also have these so for example, there's this memory from this little girl, this child, who's like recounting the story of the guy who used to run the campsite, and he stole her frisbee once, and she's telling about this story of like, oh, he was a mean guy, he was a bit weird, he stole my frisbee and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, to find the memory of this person, we need to find the frisbee. And so you're going around this part of the campsite, and you're having to look for this frisbee. And the main part of this game is finding objects by zooming in, and then you're like zooming inside of objects in like an almost X-ray kind of way. And there's like a
toolbox you could zoom into and then see the screwdriver, the hammer, the nail, or something like that.
Yeah, and there's like hundreds of objects in each part of the world, and really you're only finding 5 objects just to advance the main story. But it's so rewarding just to look into all these different objects, just to find little knickknacks and funny things, and like for example, guy who's gone to a yoga class, in his yoga bag there's like 20 cupcakes hidden under like towels, and it's like oh, so you're going out to work out and you're just gonna eat 20 cupcakes after that. So it's nice little like Easter eggs and stuff like that. But they also give you other things to find, like there's a kind of cryptic like crossword kind of thing where this weird goat clown called Mr. Whistlebottom, I can't remember his name, he's got a weird name, but he says go
Whistlebottom it is.
Yeah.
Where's his British accent from? Where's he come from?
I don't even know if it's British. He's got a very strange accent. I would believe he's an extra in like a Robin Hood play.
Nice.
So Nottingham. Because everyone from Nottingham's weird. But yeah, he gives you like cryptic clues, so that adds a bit more onto the main gameplay. So I ended up 100% in all of those. I think I was pretty good at that because I do crossword every day, and I think my brain has just become so destroyed that I understand those cryptic clues, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, it's a pleasant. I think it took probably something about 7 hours or something. Chilled out experience. It's not my.
Nice.
I can't even remember what Annapurna have made. It may not be my favourite, or it might be. I don't know. Can't remember what else they've made. Everything blurs into one.
Yeah,
I prefer it to
Annapurna game, wasn't it?
I prefer it to
well, but they're the publisher, not
the Outer Wild. No, the Outer Worlds.
I think
the Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds.
Maybe it is my favourite Annapurna game. I think I prefer Florence.
Florence, yes.
Florence is real good. So Donut County, Edith Finch,
I like that.
Unfinished Swan.
I like those. Yeah. So I'd say this is probably my
Journey,
second favorite.
Outer Wilds.
Journey wasn't originally an Annapurna game, was it? They brought it to
Journey
PC,
was just a
I
PC.
think. Yeah.
My vote's still with Florence, I think. Sayonara Wild Hearts as well, and Ashen.
Very good.
And very Flower, good, Telling Lies, I never played.
I wasn't a massive fan. It's my second favourite Annapurna game. Lest I forget.
I mean, that seems to says a lot, because I like a bunch of these games.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very good. It's very... It's a nice, pleasant game. It's about death, but it's sort of takes on it in probably less than depressing way than Spiritfarer, and Spiritfarer is very light-hearted, seeing the good side of it and everything like that. This is much more... This is much lighter in tone. It's got comedy to it. It's just the accents and the anecdotes of those stories. Everything's got a much more comical and light-hearted feel to it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love games like this. Like anything where it's a hidden object game. Anything where you're finding stuff like Hidden Folks or Where's Wally or Hidden Through Time earlier this year. It's good fun, and it's got that kind of tactile look at these objects. It's got this hot and cold mechanic with the Nintendo Switch where I played it, where it's like, the Joy-Con will start vibrating once you get closer.
Oh, nice! That's a good touch.
Cool. That is a good touch.
Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a very good game. Very good. I wouldn't say it would probably be on like top 10 this year, but it's just one of those where it's like, yes, I sat down and I was very engaged. That it was all I wanted to play, and I played it and I finished it, and it's like, that was nice. Like Spiritfarer for me. Very nice.
Good. I'm just taking a look at it now. On Steam.
Still on sale?
13?
Yeah, 13.94. So nearly 14
it's 10% off.
Worth every penny. Yeah, worth every penny.
I mean, that's really good, because I just finished a short game.
Yeah, this one's broken up in chunks where it's like, yeah, I can finish one island tonight, I'll do it the next night, and it's got that kind of nice progression to it. And it always keeps you involved, because it's like, I love looking at these little things, tactilely, like touch to it and turning them around, X-raying into them and everything like that. So yeah, I fully recommend it.
Nice. I was gonna having a quick look on Steam just to look at the store page. I thought, as we were gonna do with the previous game, the review roundup, but there were no poor reviews. There's one bad review.
Poor or poor.
Hey. The only thing cats do with their paws is fucking swipe at you. So, with I Am Dead, there is one poor review. However, I think this needs to be taken with a very big grain of salt. It comes from someone who has played 16 hours of this game, 16.7. They reviewed it at 14.3. So they played another 2 hours of this since they're not recommended.
Do you want to read their name?
I will, yes. Okay. Epic Store Bot 893. Only 26 products in their account. This, where has this come from? And the review is slightly odd. Readable party parrot. Pay to force yourself. Collect all its rabbit poops slowly. Uncomfortable gameplay. Ask you to read through its nonsense. Nothing else worth caring. Even worse than their previous silly games, or Donut County for the political correctness memes. I mean, make of that what you will. Make of that what you will.
That game, Donut County, was about... I don't understand this.
I mean, they're a nonsense person. They have they have 2 other reviews, and those ones are clearly reviews. They're not actually a bot. But they basically bashed Outer Wilds for not having VR tools.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and then said there was a bug, but recommended Outer Wilds. And then they recommended There Is No Game with a bunch of words. But for whatever reason, they decided that this game, they would pretend like they were a bot and say kind of gibberish. and then also do a weird "fuck you, Donut County," even though they didn't review Donut County at all, ever.
But Donut.
Yeah, I mean, just let it go.
Wasn't he? The Donut County was like the pushback on like urbanization and like.
Oh god, yeah, Donut County is not politically correct in the way
that they think it is.
Yes, yeah, completely.
That's what's.
Well, I think what's even worse is that three people found that review helpful.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there might have been some tongue-in-cheek stuff because it's virtually nonsense for half of it.
I might award it. What can I award it? No, I'm not going to award it.
No. Give it a no.
You're a bad.
Oh yeah, no, this was not helpful.
No, this was not helpful.
I
You know, there are some bigger reviews in there that have got some cons and things. So, one of the top ones, they'd only reviewed it at about 1.5 hours. They've got 3.5 since. But some of the cons were some of the perspective puzzles are a little bit janky. They can vary wildly between being very generous and considering the player to have solved it if the player was even remotely close, and needing the solution to essentially be exact. Okay. And then some of the puzzles,
hitboxy stuff? Is that what they're saying?
Maybe hitboxy stuff. And then some of the puzzles feel more like a guessing game than actual logic puzzles. Did you feel that at all, Lucy?
Sorry, I was not listening. What were you saying?
I closed it. I closed it. It's gone.
It's fine.
I was just like, I'm still shocked about the donut county thing.
Did you feel? The review?
Did you feel like the hitboxes or like the way you navigated was needlessly specific? I guess that seems like what it was saying.
It was saying on some of the puzzles you have to be quite exact.
I can imagine that's a problem on Steam, because I was wondering how do they get around this with a mouse, using mouse control, because with Switch, you start getting that vibration when you're looking for these very... Basically, you have to look into things at a very specific cross-section, and it starts vibrating, and it's not always my Joy-Con drift, but sometimes, it'll start moving towards what it actually is.
Is it your Elite controller drift?
I saw that, and that was weird. I've never had an issue. Maybe some people have an issue with their Xbox controllers. I think they could have a pretty decent sample study just by coming to my bedroom and seeing there's about 20.
Whoa! Watch what you say on the internet, Lucy.
Who knows? But yeah, I don't know how they'd do that with mouse, because as I said, like the vibration.
I suppose it would have to be some kind of visual cue, wouldn't it? The edges of the screen, or the edges of the screen sort of blurring slightly, or going in or out of focus, or something.
Yeah,
like that.
But I was very glad to play that on Switch because of that, and I was thinking, how are they going to do that with like mouse and keyboard? But yeah, I mean, if you plug in a controller, easy. But you probably it's not a game that you need to play a controller like mouse and keyboard. Fine, so. Yeah, I can definitely see that, but yeah, the Donut County thing, like,
I wouldn't worry about that.
It's criticism on like gentrification and stuff like that. So
yeah, but like people don't get what games actually are saying a lot.
Well, maybe that's the person.
I mean, there are people who literally tweet on like probably daily, but definitely every time a Wolfenstein game hits the news, they're like, stop this SJW politicization of games because it's anti-Nazi. It's like the game has never not fucking made you shoot Nazis. Like, if you didn't get this...
Back in 1980, whatever.
Yeah, you cannot pay attention to these people because either they're trolling or they're just plain dumb.
But
either way, it's not worth your time.
And they were called Epic Games Store, but...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was released on the Epic Games Store as well, day and date. Maybe I don't know.
I mean, I think that someone thinks they're clever.
Yes.
But you said... Okay, it's fine.
Yep, just let it go.
You can change your name on Steam
Yeah, I
whenever
will.
you like. So
It's just a bit weird. The
Yeah.
dirty thing.
let's finish there and talk about our beers and some slightly more enjoyable conversation rather than tearing down terrible reviews.
Yeah, let's end on a high note.
Yeah.
Oh shit, we're getting high?
Con Country is still good. As is Metal Slug.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I had an idea for... Sorry, ignore me. Ben, you do your thing.
So my two beers this evening were from Deya, Saturated in Idaho 7, and the Weird Beard Armus Stout. Hard one, very hard one. The Idaho 7 was a lovely flavour, very well made, super fruity, lovely and creamy, really easy. Did hide that 8%, as the Armus Stout has done, hiding that 8.5%. And the Armus Stout, whilst it is a nice flavour, goes through a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things going on here, a lot of flavours to pick out, and it flows very well. I think I'm going to give it to the Deya because it's a bit of an easier drink. And I think it's something that this Armus Stout is nice, but I come back to my sort of tried and tested reasoning. I'm not going to reach for another Armus Stout. I'm happy with it being the size that it is. I've still got a little bit of my glass left. I'm not rushing it. The Saturated in Idaho 7, I'd have easily smashed back another can and had finished it by now. It was super easy, lovely and creamy, lots of flavour going on, and it had that slight dankness that Idaho 7 gets, but that quality that Deya get in their beers as well. Just a very lovely, easy, well-made beer from Deya, which very well showcases kind of what Idaho 7 does. The Armus Stout, lovely. Very nice stout. A lot of things going on. You have to kind of be in the mood, I think, for a lot of flavour if you want to tackle this one.
I thought, given your condition, i.e. a cold, you'd
well,
flavour.
I don't know. I mean, it's got the Armus Stout does have those slightly licoricey sort of slightly spiced characteristics to it, which almost feel a little bit sort of medicinal. But it isn't quite hitting the level that Jaeger does when I'm ill and I want to feel better, and I just smash back half a bottle of Jaeger instead.
One way.
Which I may do later. I haven't done it yet. I've suffered for 3 days. Maybe it's just time to smash the Jaeger out. Like, but yeah. So for me this week, Saturated in Idaho 7. Yep. Lucy, how about you?
Yeah, I think with Verdant, I'm not sure if I've had this Neil one. Neil Gets Things Done. Maybe I was thinking of Headband with the similar art style on the front, but yeah, I think with Verdant, you know what you're getting. Very soupy, very dank, very full-bodied, very fruity, bold flavours. But yeah, I just think for the different kind of style and the just success that he manages to do that style, I'm going to go for the Overtone.
Nice.
What's it called? Ethiopian Cold Brew IPA. Yeah, as I said, it just blends all those different flavors, all those hops, as well as the Ethiopian beans. It just blends everything so well, and very consistent beer in its flavor. It's like, yes, you're getting the citrus, you're getting the fruitiness, but you're also getting those stout-like flavors with the roasted coffee beans, bit of chocolate, bit of earthiness. It just does it really well. Yeah, that's the winner for me this week.
Nice.
It's really good. I do suggest people go seek that one out if any of the Overtones. It's probably my favourite. So.
Nice, definitely something I'll have a look for. I had an Overtone at some point last week. And it sounded a little bit more like the Verdant that you had this evening. I think that was a New England IPA, but a little bit soupy, very fruity, big bold flavours. And it was nice, and I would definitely reach for Overtone again. But from what you're saying, I think when I see Overtone again, I should look for that beer rather than kind of one of their other ones.
Yeah, I mean, most of what I've had from them is IPAs, like the Pale Laurel, and they've done a few Nipas at this point. There's something a bit on the sweet side for me with those, but this is it just feels so complete, so well done.
Yeah,
like everything is just 10 out of 10 for me on this one.
Nice, good. Aadil, we'll come to you.
Yes, me. I'm a guy having beers. I liked both the beers. The Massive India Pale Ale from Great South Bay Brewery in New York was just something that I kind of liked. Slightly florally, slightly citrus. Just like didn't taste like the 7% that it was. Could bash 3 in a row and then be like, ah, shit, what have I done? But I think I have to give it to the what are the I forgot what they're called. Fuck. Howling Hops from Hackney Wick, House IPA, 6.9% ABV, and there was just more going on in the taste. So the initial taste, the main taste, and the finish had a bit more of a curve. The interplay, I also really liked that at that 7% you could taste and feel, like the mouthfeel was thicker. They made the beer a little thicker, and so you felt like you were having a more boisterous beer, even though the tastes weren't in your face. And that's a nice trade-off, in my opinion, of like what you can do with ABV but still make it very drinkable. While the Massive IPA was just kind of thin, and ultimately I think it was just like what it does well, but it kind of just has a taste and a finish, and it trades off between them reasonably well, and that's good. It's your minimum for a beer, but like the House IPA just did a little more. Even though the finish, like I said, was kind of weirdly split between the bitter and then this weird sweet tangerine type hit, it was still, even though ideally those would be more intertwined, maybe, who knows, but like in general there were just more interesting going on. And I don't think that, I'm just saying that because I had more of it, because it was a bigger tin.
That's fair.
I mean, I might be wrong. That might literally just have been what happened.
We'll never know. And that's fine.
We won't.
So, that's all of the beers for this week. That's all of the games as well. You can get all of us at Tanked Up Cast on Twitter and on Instagram. tankedupcast@gmail.com. If you want to email us long form thoughts about things, or those things, not just the general state of the world.
I mean,
it is
do what you will, but like we might not respond if it's not very
sure.
Yeah.
You can go to the Out of Lives Facebook page. You can go to outoflives.net as well, where we post this. You can see our faces on the YouTubes or on outoflives.net as well, where our video will be within the post, or if you fancy it, find us in your podcast service of choice. If you're watching us on the stream and you don't subscribe to the podcast, or you watch us on the YouTube and you don't subscribe to the podcast, go to your podcast service of choice, find us, rate us, review us, do what you will. I'm at Nova_47 almost everywhere. Get hold of me, let me know what you think about the things I've been playing, or the things that you think I would enjoy. Do the same for Aadil as well, who's streaming a lot of games on the Out of Lives Twitch page, which is Out of Lives Network on Twitch, to let him know any games that may already be in his library that he should revisit and look at.
My 6,000 games.
From the 6,000 games. Aadil, if people want to get hold of you, how do they do that?
I'm at the Omniarch, TheOmniarch, on all of things except Twitch, where I occasionally mostly do weird productivity streams that are not in standard for Twitch. And I'm doing more of my gaming here on the Out of Lives Twitch channel. Although I think if I start streaming Magic, I'll probably do it not on the channel, because I don't think our channel needs that. But yeah, the _Omniarch on Twitch, but also... Sorry?
You do that on your CD after dark channel.
Yeah. But that's me. And yeah, feel free to reach out on the Instagrams or the tweets or the whatnots. Let me know what you think I should tackle, especially because I do the Tuesday streams on Out of Lives, and this month I'm going to try and do spoopy things, although I messed it up and just forgot it was Tuesday and didn't stream today. That's my honest to God truth.
They all blend into one. It's fine.
But the next couple of weeks, I'd like to do some spoopy games. I have Game Pass and I have a bunch on Steam, but let me know if there's something new and interesting that I should try out.
Nice.
You should try out that, what is it called? Phasmophobia game or whatever it is that everybody's talking about.
Perhaps.
Some ghost hunting game or something. I don't know.
Do you play as Derek Akora?
I don't know who that is.
Oh.
So that's lost on me.
Well, we'll move on. If you'd like to tweet at or let Lucy know on social media who Derek Akora is, you can do so, Lucy, at
Juicy Loose 9. And my hot tip this week is go play Family on Itch. It's by Al.
God, yeah, I forgot to talk about that as well.
Yeah, me too.
We should talk about it next week just because it's so good.
Agreed. Yeah. It's been out for a while and it's free, so it's no reason to.
If you like music and you like puzzle games, it's an indie music puzzle game. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about it next week. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, I'll put a star.
Because I haven't finished it, so I can finish it before next week.
Nice.
Sweet.
Because I like loved it and then just kind of forgot it existed in the way that Aadil does it constantly. And so it's definitely a game I wanted to finish but didn't, rather than a game that I didn't finish. If that makes sense.
It's super short, so you could easily just start it again and
yeah.
It's about an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, Juicy, let me know your inner secrets.
Ooh, deep. Perfect. A good way to end this week. Thank you for joining us. Remember, go to your podcast service of choice, and let us know what you think. For another week, we've been Tanked Up. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
www.outoflives.net